When you had your 44-inch vertical
Yep.
at the combine, how did that change your life? Did it change your life?
Yeah, honestly, I think it wasn't just the vertical. It was the vertical coupled with the way that I tested in the other, athletic challenges, if you will, the full court run, the cone drill, change of directions drill. I think if you looked at all of them, I placed in the top 3 in every category for guards at the combine. And I think for me, it was something that I always knew. I always knew I had some athleticism. I always knew that, people didn't really know. But I was also playing a power forward at Notre Dame, so I understood why people didn't always know it. I was playing a different position.
So you hit the exact. Okay, you had the little chin goatee.
Yeah,
right?
for sure. Baseball goatee. The
Baseball
flow.
Goatee, right? Yeah, you had the flow.
Yeah.
You were coming off. You were going in the heritage of the Luke Herron goatees.
Yep.
Of the world.
Absolutely.
Who jumped 2 inches.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
White guy from New England.
Yep.
Who's tall but not wow, look at this freak athlete.
Mm-hmm.
You could have in another age you probably could have been a hustler.
Yeah.
Did you ever do any hustling?
I like to think I hustled on the floor.
I mean, went to it White Man Can't Jump, where you go and people think that you can't jump.
So I didn't do any hustling per se.
Yeah.
One of my favorite basketball stories actually involves one of my good friends, Shabazz Napier, and I got recruited basically by an area close to where I went to high school up on the North Shore in Boston to play in a game with them. It was one neighborhood versus another neighborhood. One neighborhood on the North Shore, one neighborhood in Mission Hill Projects.
Okay.
And
West Side Story, that kind of.
A little bit.
Okay.
And I was good friends with all the guys in the North Shore, and I said, yeah, absolutely, no problem. It was a Saturday afternoon, and I vividly remember it. And
how old are you at this point?
It was before I committed to Notre Dame. It was probably my junior year of high school.
Okay.
Shabazz had been committed to UConn, if not at UConn for summer school, and came back.
Okay.
And I remember.
And this is New York versus Boston action too here, right?
Yeah, kind of. And so I remember them inviting me to play and me saying, yeah, absolutely. My dad asking where the game was, because at the time I could drive myself. And I said, oh, it's in Mission Hill, right near the Reggie Lewis Center in Roxbury. And he was like, oh, I'll come in with you. And I was like, all right. Figured he wanted to watch a game of basketball. I got a call from one of my buddies who was on the team that I was playing for when I was on my way. And he said, hey, before you get here, call us when you get to the Reggie Lewis Center. We'll come get you, and then you can come in. I was like, all right. Didn't think much of it. And, when I got into the gym, I realized that I was the only white guy in the gym.
Yeah.
And the level of my dad. The level of basketball that was being played was very high, and those were situations I loved. I loved being in those situations. I loved playing against the best competition, and the best part about it was when I stepped on the floor, no one expected much of me. Right. Now, my buddies from the North Shore and the team that I was on understood what I was capable of, but nobody else did. Shabazz did a little bit because we had gone back and forth, but everyone was focused on Shabazz. The whole gym was wondering when Shabazz was going to be there, and when Shabazz showed up, the place erupted because it's technically a home game in their eyes for the team. And so game goes on. Throughout the game, I made a few shots. The gym started to wonder who I was, and I remember going down the right wing on a fast break. One of my buddies, Jarrell, hit me on a bounce pass. I went up. A guy went up to block me, and I dunked on him. And the gym exploded. The game stopped. It's like the videos that you see now on social media.
On the floor.
Correct. And at that moment, the whole atmosphere kind of changed in our favor. Now, Shabazz will tell you they went on to win the game by 3 in the end.
That's a shame.
But I remember after I dunked, going over, they took me out for a minute. Little kid running up to me and pointing to my dad and asking if I was related to him. And I was like, yeah, that was very astute of observation.
Good job.
It was good. But so he wanted to go over and talk to my dad about how I was able to jump, which actually was also pretty astute of the kid to try to learn how he could be able to jump that high. So it was one of my favorite basketball memories just because, the city of Boston and Massachusetts, that's where I'm from, and the people and places in that area have helped get me to where I am. But that's kind of the same type of shock and awe that people have had at every single level that I've gotten to.
So, but you've always been a freak athlete because you're obviously a pitcher, successful pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
You've been a good shooter your career. You've been a stretch four and everything. Have you always been like multi-talented in this way? Like, what else? What other talents do you have that maybe we don't know about? The world didn't know you could jump 44 inches. What else did we not know about you?
I tried to convince Coach Bray to let me play football too at Notre Dame.
To play what position?
Quarterback.
So can you throw the ball like 65 yards too?
I can throw it like 50 from my knees.
Really?
Yeah, I think I've thrown it 80 before.
Well, you're a pitcher, so you figure.
Yeah, I got some arm strength.
So you played quarterback?
Yeah, in high school. I got recruited a little bit before I stopped playing. And honestly, the only reason I stopped playing was because it was a sport that I didn't start in, like, organized until high school, and I didn't want.
Did you put up big numbers in that too?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
you were the king of the campus.
I think I caught a touchdown, ran a touchdown, and threw a touchdown in one game.
Yeah, we're gonna know your name.
Yeah,
I guess.
But we'll see someday. Maybe I'll back up Tom Brady.
What age were you? I'll just let that go. What age were you when you realized you were the best basketball player on your team? You're like, I'm better than all these guys.
So it's a tricky question. I think when I was young, 6th grade, I started to realize that playing travel at this, place called Fidelity House back home. But that was just in the town of Arlington. Like, that's where I grew up. It wasn't a big town.
Still, though.
But I think I started to realize it then. I mean, when I was in, like, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade, I got to play up. They let me play up. So at that moment, I knew I wasn't the best player on my team because I was playing against guys older, but I really liked it, really enjoyed it. But once I got to high school, I went to a high school that I didn't know anybody, 1,300 all boys, very good athletically, and everyone from my town was worried I wasn't going to be able to compete there, worried why I didn't go. Maybe they just wanted me to go to town high school, but they didn't think I could compete there. And then once I made varsity as a freshman, and once I started to become the best player as a sophomore, it was the same story. You're great in high school, but if you want to play college sports, you'll play baseball. And then things started to change. Finally, I got some offers from schools. I went to Notre Dame, and it was the same story. You're great in college, but you'll play baseball professionally if you have a chance to play pro at anything. So I think for me, it was always trying to fight that uphill battle.
So maybe you never did.
Yeah, I'm pretty able to admit I'm not the best player on my team right now.
Yeah. Well, when did you realize you were not the best player on your team? Did that happen in high school, or did it happen in college, or when?
I would say, college we had some great players. I would say it was different. Like, one of my closest friends, Jaron Grant, played in the NBA. My senior year, I would say we were both. He put up better numbers than me, but I think he would say that without me, we wouldn't have been as good either. So I think we had a good little 1-2 punch, or 1A, 1B, if you will. But as I got to the NBA, I obviously knew my role was going to be different. And I think one thing that young guys, especially second-round draft picks, struggle with is you've been the man your entire career. It's going to be different at the NBA level. You need to buy into that very quickly, kind of like I'm buying into the underdog story in the dunk contest.
Right.
Like, you need to buy into that quickly, and you need to accept it.
With that, but you overcome it.
Yeah.
So last question.
Yeah.
What was the process like? How long did it take you to convince the NBA to give you an invite to this contest?
I would say it took a solid 6 months, and I will give the majority of the credit to the city of Milwaukee. They started a little bit of a grassroots hashtag, if you will, Let Pat Dunk, and I think that got some momentum. I think that's kind of where it started. And I think dunk contest dunking and in-game dunking are different, both hard in their own rights. I think in-game dunking, people know I can do now, or at least if you're a basketball fan, you know. You still might not know.
There's highlights out there.
Yeah, 100%.
You've gotten up in the lane.
Yeah, 100%. And that's a different type of difficulty, obviously. Dunking in a game, there's a lot of people in the NBA, if not all, that can dunk. Dunking in a game is different. There's significantly less that do that often. But then dunk contests dunk are also a different level. I think that was the biggest thing with the NBA that I had to try to convince them I could do is, look, I actually am happy that you guys don't think I can do it, because when I come on Saturday night and I show that I can do it, if you guys are the whole league and I'm one of the 450 in the league and you don't believe I can do it, what's the rest of the world going to think when I do it? And it's going to have the same reaction as it did in the Mission Hill projects.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.